traveling alone as a female, even under the best circumstances, can be scary. But then you throw in staying with a stranger in their house that you met on the internet just because they seem nice on the internet with no money or exchange of anything. That's a whole different ballgame.
She's a Mona Lisa. Everyone's lining up to see her. She's a Mona Lisa.
So I'm here to tell you today about my experience doing just that. Sometimes it's called Couchsurfing, which is the website that's probably most popular to do this sort of thing. In my case, I use the Facebook group Host a Sister, which is basically Couchsurfing, but it's on Facebook. It's a private group and it's only for women. So I was a little bit more comfortable with that. I had a lot of recommendations for au pairs to use that resource. I'm gonna tell you how I found a match, what my experience was like this past weekend, and whether I'd do it again. Okay, so first things first, how did I find this group? How did I become a part of it? And how did I match with someone to stay in a city that I was planning on traveling with? Well, I used Host a Sister, which is a Facebook group. You can go onto it, you can apply to be a part of their group. They only allow you to be in it if you've had Facebook for more than a year so that they can verify that you're not just creating an account just to be a part of this group. If you haven't had Facebook for more than a year, don't worry. You just are gonna have to send in some sort of identification, like government identification, along with your application to prove that you are who you say you are. It has a good amount of security, and you make a post on this Facebook group, and it has very strict rules so that it stays searchable. So basically, you can not type out a city name if you are not planning on going there or if you're not planning on hosting people there. You have to insert symbols and stuff like that so it doesn't mess up the search. It's very well moderated, it's very searchable, and it has over 100,000 members, so it's a great resource to find people. I went on there and I made a post listing out every single place I was planning on going on my trip. My itinerary actually did end up changing after I made my post, but I just listed the cities. I listed the dates for my entire trip. It's probably better if you can get more specific on your dates, but for me, I just listed, because I was trying to figure out my entire trip still. So I listed basically the 3 or 4 weeks I was planning to travel, every city that I was planning to go to in the order that I was planning on going to them. And people commented saying, I'd like to meet up, I'd like to host you, or I just am from that area, I'm not there right now, but I'd love to give you recommendations. So those are the 3 kind of responses that you're gonna get in the comments. A girl from Toulouse, which is the city that's an hour away from me that I knew I was going to start my trip in, offered to host me. And so that is the only couch surfing and hosting experience I've had so far. This was my first time doing it, so I was a little bit nervous. Now let's talk about what was the experience like. I mean, it was super positive for me right off the bat. First of all, she came and picked me up at the train stop. I'm in front of the Toulouse train station and I have to meet up with the girl that I'm staying with tonight. She's gonna come here to meet me. I'm really excited. It's a total stranger that I met on Facebook and I'm gonna be staying with her for 2 nights, but she seems really nice. So I'm optimistic. Now's the question of like, what was the experience actually like? I was nervous, obviously, going into this, staying with a complete stranger, but we had chatted on Facebook a little bit and I felt like I picked well. From the beginning, it was just amazing. First of all, she came and picked me up at the train stop so that I wouldn't have to like wander around and look for her house, which was super nice. She had her boyfriend living with her and she offered for him to go stay at a friend's house if that would make me more comfortable. That's also something that before we even met, I was like, okay, she cares about me being comfortable. She's thinking about what I might feel like. This seems like a good person to host me. When I get there, they have dinner already planned, like we all eat dinner together, and that night we had a pretty chill night since I got in on the evening, and we started watching a Netflix show together, which I thought was super fun. Different people might have different things that they're looking for in a weekend away. You might want to go out and do a bunch of stuff, and if I had plans, like, I'm sure that my host would have totally been fine with that, but for me, it was the beginning of a really long trip, and Toulouse is not like a big deal for me to visit because it's literally like a €1 train ride away from my city, so I can go there all the time when I'm with my host family. And so I was really happy to just start off the night really chill, just watching TV together and bonding and talking. That's what we did night one. So it is the next morning. My hosts are out and about. The girl who's hosting me is at the gym, and her boyfriend, I don't know where he is. It's been super nice staying here. They made me dinner. We watched like a TV show that I'd never watched before, and we just kind of hung out and chilled last night. The girl who's hosting me is so easy to talk to. I've just loved getting to know new people, and this is definitely the way that I'd want to see Toulouse, because I don't know much of what to do around here, and it's not like a big, exciting, touristy city. So I'm really glad that I had this hosting experience. Then the day that I had, the full day I had in Toulouse, the next day, she basically helped plan out everything for me, which was great because I didn't have a plan at all. So we went to like a modern art museum. We went to both of the big churches, the like basilica there. And we went by the little river. If you've seen my Stranded in Toulouse video, that's where I had the picnic, but it was another section of it. And we just got a bottle of wine. We sat by the river, we talked. Her and her boyfriend, I just both got along with really well. I'll probably go and visit them in Toulouse again. I'm hoping that they might move up to Paris. Might be in the cards. A great experience. I just felt like we were friends off the bat. Maybe not by French standards, but by American standards, I consider them a friend. And it was great. It was like not having to visit a city alone. It was like when you visit a city and your friend lives there, you know? It's such a different experience. It's so much more easygoing, especially when you get a host who plans everything like that. And my hosts were really generous. You shouldn't expect this, but they made breakfast, they made lunch, they made dinner. Like, they took care of me perfectly. And the one way that I repaid them was I bought the bottle of wine for like when we were going out. I would say come with a bottle of wine, some chocolate, something like that to give your host. I don't know, it's just polite. But yeah, it was an amazingly positive experience, and I felt safer because of it, which I think is something that can be a benefit of couch surfing or being hosted somewhere that isn't thought of a lot, is the fact that you can actually feel safer as long as you've chose someone good who you want to spend time with and is a good person, because they're gonna help you out with the city, and you're not gonna be truly alone in a city. You'll have a local to help show you around and look out for you. That was maybe the most surprising thing about the whole staying with a stranger experience, is how much it increased the quality of my time there. Even if I was like sleeping on a couch, I was totally fine with that because I had friends, I had a safe place to sleep, I had good food, and I had so many activities to do that I wouldn't have had if I had just gone, rented a hotel room, or even rented an Airbnb and stayed by myself. So that was my experience of my very first couch surfing hostess sister encounter. I have some more stuff coming up with Couchsurfing, the actual Couchsurfing website and app, Airbnb, and just a lot of tips for solo female travel. For those of you who don't know, right now I am taking a 3-week-long trip around France. I've gone to Toulouse, I'm in Marseille right now, next is Nice, probably gonna take a day trip to Monaco, then I'll be going to Lyon, then I'll be going to Grenoble, then I'll be going to Bordeaux, then back to Toulouse and Albi. If you're looking for content about what it's like to travel, especially in France as a solo female, if you are just into European travel, if you're an au pair, please consider subscribing to my channel. I have a ton of content on all of those things and even more coming.